So what is your main research interest?
The lab works on computational methods in evolutionary biology and ecology. So we tend to focus on problems like the evolution of cooperation and social behavior, how animals groups become either more cooperative or less cooperative depending on the environments they live in. And another big central lab interest is evolution on fitness landscapes. So we can imagine that how the environment can determine whether certain genes lead to lots of offspring or few offspring, and that creates a kind of landscape depending on the kinds of genes organisms have. And how those landscapes change over time and how they affect things like the evolution of resistance to antibiotics is one of the questions the lab studies.
So what do you like the most about the UK biology department?
The UK biology department's been a really supportive and just kind of intellectually stimulating place to be. I think it's one of the few places that I've been where people with just such a wide diversity of interests get along and collaborate and share their different perspectives about different topics. So I think it's a place where you can just be exposed to such a wide diversity and array of different topics in biology.
So how do you interact with your graduate students in the lab in a typical week?
Well, since my lab is primarily computational, folks have a pretty wide latitude for coming in when they need to and for working outside the lab at home or in coffee shops. So we typically have lab meetings and journal clubs where we interact, and then we set up times to chat. But so I think it's pretty independent that way. So we're not sort of in lab 8 to 5 necessarily. People are free to make their own hours.
So what does the lab do for fun?
The semester has been a kind of a unique one for fun. So we've had very few kind of social outings, unfortunately, but normally the department's pretty good about actually having a happy hour, which the lab typically attends, and that's been in the past has been pretty fun. It's usually around town, kind of one of the brew pubs somewhere. Either we sort of bike there or walk there, and then usually there's a trivia night every week at one of the brew pubs in town, and that's been fun too. So haven't had much opportunity for some of those things recently this semester, but normally it's a good time.